I'm standing here today in front of a beautiful firecracker red Jeep 4xe. We're going to go over everything you need to know about charging the Jeep 4xe. We're going to cover the different levels of charging, different types of charging equipment, and how long the Jeep 4xe takes to charge using the different types of charging equipment. We're going to find out just how useful the Jeep charging network is going to be. We're going to take a look at the stock charging cable that Jeep gives you with the 4xe. And I'm going to try to help you decide if that's going to be enough for your charging needs or if you need to get something that's more powerful. And if you do, we'll talk about some recommendations. We're going to talk a little bit about DC fast charging and if the Jeep 4xe can do that. I'm going to finish up by explaining how you can charge your Jeep 4xe on Tesla charging stations. But first, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel if you like what we're doing here, because that helps others find this channel, which in turn helps me spread the word about electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging. So let's take a look at the standard charging equipment that comes with the Jeep 4xe. Comes in this nice little carrying case, and it's stored underneath the false floor behind the rear seats. It is a 120 volt portable EVSE. Now I call it EVSE, even though a lot of people call these chargers. Chargers really isn't the proper term. We use that term loosely, but I just want to make sure you understand the actual charger is built into every electric car. It's called an onboard charger. So the equipment that you plug into the vehicle, it's really just safety equipment that allows you to charge the vehicle safely. So it's called EVSE for Electric Vehicle Supply Equipment. Now I know a lot of people aren't going to fumble with that acronym and say, oh, I need to buy an EVSE. That's why we call them chargers or charging stations. Some people call them wall boxes. Those terms are all interchangeable. Charger isn't really the proper term for this. Although most people are going to say, oh, can you get me my charger, or I need to buy a new charger. It's not the right term, but we still accept it. Just want to make sure you understand exactly what it is. This is really just a safety device to allow you to safely charge your car. The actual charger is built into the car, and its job is to convert the electricity that this delivers, which is in AC or alternating current, into DC, direct current, because that's how electricity is stored in your battery pack. So the onboard charger takes the electricity that's coming as alternating current from this, converts it to direct current, and stores it into the battery. Okay, so let's take a look at this unit. It's a level 1 charger, and level 1 for electric vehicles means that it plugs into a regular household outlet. That's a regular plug there. You can plug into any household outlet that you have, and out in your garage will work just fine. And this will charge your Jeep 4xe. However, if the battery is completely drained, which in most instances when you come home, it's going to be drained because this is a plug-in hybrid. It doesn't have a huge battery. It only has about 21 to 25 miles of range. So most people are going to come home with a depleted battery every day. Using this supplied charging equipment, it will take about 12 hours to fully recharge your Jeep 4xe. That's not terrible for overnight charging. In most instances, by the next morning, your Jeep's going to be fully recharged. However, some people are going to find that they want to drive on electricity even more, and they're probably going to want to get something called a level 2 charger. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. I want to finish talking about this first. One of the things I like to recommend if you are going to use a level 1 charger like this is have the outlet that you plan on plugging this into inspected by an electrician. Now I'm saying that because many people have their outlets in their garage that get rarely used. I mean, the house might be 40, 50 years old, and the outlet's been sitting there for many years, and over the course of the years, the connections inside the outlets loosen up. Now you come along and you've probably rarely used the outlet, or maybe you use it every now and then. Now you're going to plug this thing in, and every single day, that outlet is going to be used for 12 hours overnight. So what we see a lot of times when people use their level 1 chargers every single day. They plug them into an outlet that they use, on occasion. All of a sudden you see the plugs melts a little bit, or the outlet has brown around the edges. And that's because the connections over the years loosened up inside the outlet, and they're arcing, and bad things can happen. So I always recommend, if you're going to use a level 1 charger, if you're going to plug it into a regular household outlet, have that outlet inspected. It's not even a terrible idea to have an electrician run a brand new circuit, a nice dedicated 20 amp circuit with a brand new outlet. All the connections are nice and tight. That way you won't have any problems. I know a lot of people aren't going to want to do that, but quite honestly, this is something that's different than what most people have been using in their household. They very rarely have appliances that have the maximum draw of the circuit for 10 or 12 hours continuously every single day. Electric vehicles draw a lot of power, even on level 1. This is a 12 amp charger. Most outlets in the garages are 15 amp outlets. And so 12 amps is the most you can continuously draw, because the most you can draw is 80% of the outlet's maximum capacity. So this is the maximum that outlet is rated to supply continuously, and you're doing it every day for 12 hours. So that's just a good tip. Have the outlet checked out, make sure the connections are nice and tight, or better yet, install a nice new outlet on a dedicated 20 amp circuit rather than a 15 amp circuit, and you'll be much better off. Okay, now that we've taken a look at the supplied standard equipment that comes with your Jeep 4xe, let's take a look at the optional equipment. Jeep has partnered with Clipper Creek. Clipper Creek is a very well-known and established manufacturer of electric vehicle charging equipment. And what Jeep has done was partnered with Clipper Creek to sell a 32 amp level 2 charging station for Jeep customers. Basically what they did was they took the Clipper Creek HCS 40P and rebranded it. They basically put a Jeep name on it right about here. And it's a very good charger. I have a full review of this charging station on my channel. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video so you could see if that's a charging station that you're interested in. But one thing I will tell you is that when Jeep sells it, they sell it for $647. Clipper Creek sells it for $589. So it's $59 more for the Jeep sticker. Other than that, it's exactly the same. So order one directly from Clipper Creek and buy yourself a $2 sticker if you really want it to be branded Jeep. That's my recommendation. But it's a good unit. And why would you want to have this unit? You know, the car comes with this, and this will fully charge the car overnight. We just talked about that. Let me explain why. The Jeep 4xe can accept up to 32 amps. This is a 32 amp level 2 charging station. This will recharge the Jeep 4xe in a little over 2 hours. I timed it a few times. It was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Fully recharged. So that's a little over 2 hours, 12 hours. So why would you want to spend the extra money just to recharge quicker? Well, because you'll be able to drive on electricity a lot more. I've had this Jeep 4xe now for a week, and pretty much every day I'm driving more than 50 miles on electricity. That's because in the morning I'll take it out, run some errands, drive 20, 25 miles, come back home, plug it back in, and in 2 hours it's fully recharged. Now I can go out and run some more errands. If you were using this in 2 hours, it would only be like 15% charged. So, you know, you'd only be able to drive a couple of miles, 2 or 3 miles before the battery was exhausted, and you're jumping into hybrid mode. I mean, the beauty of the Jeep 4xe, honestly, is the power, the added power you get from the electric powertrain combined with the turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. I mean, it's one of the most powerful Jeeps you can drive. That's great, but also the efficiency. But in order to really take advantage of that, you got to keep it charged and drive on electric as much as you can. And you'll actually end up saving a lot of money if you do so. A good level 2 charger like this could actually pay for itself, but it depends on how you drive. If you leave your house in the morning and you drive 100 miles, let's say you go to work and it's 50 miles each way and you can't plug in when you get to work, so you come home after driving 100 miles and you plug in and you're home overnight, then this probably will be all you need. But if you do a lot of short trips, running a lot of errands, maybe you work from home or you work 10 or 15 miles from home, it might not be a terrible idea to get a higher powered charger, because when you're running these short trips, you come back home, you plug back in, you can drive on electricity, I mean, as much as 90% of the time, if all you do are short trips and not these big long drives, because when you leave in the morning and you're gone for, like I said, 100 miles, 150 miles, and you can't plug in, it makes no difference if you get this charger or this one, because you're still going to come home at night, plug in and charge overnight, and in the morning you're going to leave and you're not going to have an opportunity to charge again. So you have to decide what your driving schedule looks like. If you do a lot of short trips, if you want to drive on electricity as much as you can, it's not a bad idea to upgrade to a charger like this. Now, one of the things I will mention is this is a plug-in charging station. It needs a NEMA 1450 outlet installed. Now, because it's only a 32 amp charging station, it can be installed on a 40 amp circuit. And by code, you're allowed to run a 40 amp circuit to a NEMA 1450 outlet, even though it's a 50 amp outlet. That's because there are no 40 amp outlets available. So the code allows you to run a 40 amp circuit to a 50 amp outlet. However, I'm going to encourage you, if you do install a NEMA 1450 outlet, have it installed on a 50 amp circuit. Don't have it installed on a 40 amp circuit. And the reason being is, in the future, you may have a different electric vehicle that can accept more power, more than 32 amps. You might want a charging station that can deliver 40 amps of power, not 32 amps, and you'll have the outlet already installed, and you can just plug in the higher powered charging station and deliver more power to your future electric vehicle. EVs are charging at faster and faster rates all the time. There's plenty of electric vehicles that charge at 48 amps currently. There's new electric vehicles coming out that are going to be able to charge at 80 amps. So, you know, you kind of want to future-proof your garage. Electrification is happening. It's going to happen across all different types of vehicles, trucks, Jeeps, everything. We're seeing, you know, convert to electric now. And faster at-home charging is more and more the norm. So you definitely want to make sure you're not installing something that you're going to rip out in 4 or 5 years because you have to upgrade. So my advice would be install a NEMA 1450 outlet on a dedicated 50 amp circuit, and you should be pretty good even in the future. Even if your electric vehicle can accept a faster or a higher charging rate, the 40 amp circuit will pretty much fully recharge your electric vehicle with overnight charging. So we talked about the slowest way to charge your Jeep 4xe and the fastest way, that being a level 2 32 amp charging station. Now I'm going to talk about something in between. This is also a level 2 charging station. Level 2 chargers operate on 240 volts as opposed to the level 1 charging equipment that uses 120 volts, which is a regular household outlet. But this is a 16 amp level 2 charging station. This will plug into like a dryer outlet or an electric range outlet. They make these in NEMA 1430 plugs, and some of them are also NEMA 1030 plugs. Those are common plugs for household appliances like electric dryers and electric ranges. I'm bringing this up because a lot of people actually have their electric clothes dryer in their garage or very close to their garage. And if you do, you don't have to then go out and install that NEMA 1450 outlet. I mean, of course you can if you want to charge at the fastest you possibly can. But charging equipment like this is a 16 amp portable charger, and this can plug into a electric clothes dryer outlet. This will recharge the 4xe in 4 to 5 hours. So now you've got 12 hours, 4 to 5 hours, and a little over 2 hours. So we've got 3 different options here. Another thing I want to mention about getting, and this is called the Amazing E. There's other charging equipment that's similar to this, that's 16 amps, 240 volts. This is my favorite unit for this level of charging, and I have a link to purchase this product if you'd like in the description of this video. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because people have these outlets really close to their garage, it makes it really convenient. They don't have to spend any money and they can charge on level 2. What you can also do is you can unplug your dryer and plug this in every time you need to charge your car or dry your clothes. Or there's actually units called, one unit is called NeoCharge and the other unit is called Split Volt. And they're smart circuit splitters. And what they do is they allow you to plug both appliances, the dryer as well as the EVSE, into them. And then the unit plugs into the outlet. What it does is give priority to the electric dryer. And when you need to dry your clothes, that always takes precedence. So the dryer will always get power and it'll shut your electric car charging off. But once the dryer has shut off, then the car continues to charge. That way, they intelligently balance the load. So you don't have to worry about overloading the circuit. You could use that one circuit and have 2 appliances plugged into it and safely charge your car without having to worry about overloading the circuit. There are simple pigtails that you plug into the outlet and they have 2 receptacles that you can plug into. Do not use those. It's totally unsafe. You can overload your circuit. I know they're much less expensive, but bad things happen when you overload circuits. If everything is perfect, the worst that'll happen is the circuit breaker trips. But we all know that everything doesn't always end up perfect. And if you overload your circuit drawing a lot of power, you could end up with a fire. So I definitely don't recommend using just those pigtails that you can plug 2 things into. Get a smart circuit splitter if you want to go that route, like NeoCharge or Split Volt. That way you could safely use the dryer and also charge your car from that one dedicated circuit. Another thing I'd like to point out is you may have noticed these look very similar. That's because they are the same. This is called the J1772 connector. And it's the connector that all electric vehicles in North America use, except for Tesla vehicles. Tesla has their own proprietary connector. They don't use what everybody else uses. Now I'm mentioning this because since we're talking about charging equipment, I want to make sure you understand you can buy charging equipment from any vendor, from any company. You don't have to buy the Clipper Creek one that we just talked about or the Jeep branded Clipper Creek charger. You can buy one from any of the available charging equipment vendors out there, and there's dozens and dozens of them, and they'll all have this J1772 connector. You don't even have to check. As long as it's not branded Tesla, that it's a Tesla charging station, it will have the J1772 and it can charge your Jeep. What I will recommend is take a good look at the warranty. I typically don't recommend buying charging equipment that doesn't have at least a 3-year warranty. There's a lot of budget EVSE out there right now. There's a lot of these new companies trying to cash in on this electric vehicle revolution. So they're all jumping in and building EV charging equipment. Some of it is very poor quality, and usually the ones that have the shortest warranties are the ones that aren't made well, because the company that makes it, you know, they want to stick you with it after a year when it burns out. They don't want to have to ship you another one. So just that's a tip that I have. Make sure you take a good look at the warranty. Make sure it's safety certified and it has at least a 3-year warranty, and you should be good to go. Next, we're going to talk about DC fast charging. And this will be a brief conversation because the Jeep 4xe cannot DC fast charge. DC fast charging is called level 3 charging, and that's ultra high speed electric vehicle charging. You use a different connector for that, so you couldn't even plug in a DC fast charger into the Jeep 4xe. It just wouldn't fit. Tesla calls that supercharging, and they have these supercharging stations all over the place. You probably recognize them. The Jeep cannot plug into a Tesla supercharger, nor can it plug into a DC fast charger from, say, Electrify America, ChargePoint, Greenlots, EVgo. There's a whole bunch of networks out there that have DC fast chargers, but unfortunately, the Jeep cannot utilize that ultra high speed charging. Plug-in hybrids don't have very large batteries. The Jeep has a 17 kilowatt hour battery, for instance, and of that 17 kilowatt hours, about 15 kilowatt hours is usable. Most fully electric vehicles have at least a 50 kilowatt hour battery. Some of them are over 100 kilowatt hours. With these really big batteries, you need ultra high speed charging to recharge them really quickly. The Jeep doesn't have a really big battery, plus it has the gas engine. So if you run out of battery charge, it's no problem. You're just driving in hybrid mode. With fully electric vehicles, you don't have that backup. So you need to be able to recharge the vehicles really quickly. And that's why fully electric vehicles all have the ability to DC fast charge. Tesla calls it supercharging, and all other electric vehicles, it's just DC fast charging. I mentioned earlier that I was going to tell you how you can charge your Jeep 4xe on a Tesla charging station. Now, as I just said, you cannot use Tesla superchargers. Those are the Tesla's ultra high speed fast chargers. However, they're not the only charging stations that Tesla has. If you own a Tesla, you might have the Tesla wall connector already hanging in your garage. If you happen to own a Tesla and you got the Jeep 4xe, you don't need to get any other charging equipment. You can use your Tesla mobile connector or your Tesla wall connector to charge the Jeep 4xe. The only thing you have to do is get an adapter, like these two adapters that I have here. Now these are called Tesla to J1772 adapters, and they're made by a variety of vendors. The two that I think work well with the Jeep 4xe that I like to recommend is this Electron 40 amp adapter, and also these Tesla Tap. Now Tesla Tap makes, this is called the Tesla Tap Mini. It's more expensive because it's sleek and compact, but it's a really nice package. It works really well, and I like to show a different variety of chargers. Tesla Tap also offers an adapter that's similar to this with the cable in the middle between the two connectors. But either one will work fine, and I have links to purchase these products in the description of this video. So basically, either of these products would work this way. You would take your Tesla connector, let me open this up, plug it in to this side here of the adapter, and on the other side, take this off, unplug, and plug it in. Not sure if you could see the light, but we have red, blue, and now green. There we go. So right now, the Jeep is charging from my Tesla wall connector that I have here in my garage. But the wall connectors aren't the only chargers that made by Tesla that you can use. Tesla's installed a network of destination chargers, which are basically like the home equipment that you'd buy for Tesla, the wall connectors. They have thousands of them all around North America. They're at hotels, all different types of destinations. That's why they call them destination chargers. Tesla basically installs them for free, and then the property owner just agrees to allow people to use them. And it's not for exclusive use for Tesla vehicles. The property owner decides who gets to use that. So basically, if you're staying at a hotel that has a Tesla destination charger and you have one of these adapters, you just ask the front desk, hey, I'd like to plug my vehicle into the Tesla charger. I have an adapter. I've done it dozens and dozens of times with non-Tesla vehicles, and the property owner's always happy. Listen, you're a guest of theirs. You're visiting their hotel, their winery, their golf course, their ski resort, wherever the destination is where they have the charger, and they want a happy customer, so they're going to let you use their charger. I've never had anybody tell me that I can't plug in, and like I said, I've used that dozens of times. So you can charge your Jeep 4xe on a Tesla wall connector, Tesla mobile connector, or Tesla destination charger. Not a Tesla supercharger, but any of those other charging equipment, you can charge your Jeep 4xe on as long as you get an adapter like these here. And finally, let's talk about the Jeep 4xe charging network. Jeep partnered with Electrify America, and they're going to be installing charging stations at the trailheads of all of the Jeep Badge of Honor off-road trails, including Moab, the Rubicon Trail, and Big Bear, and others. I think in all there's 56 Jeep Badge of Honor off-road trails. So basically, Electrify America is installing chargers at the trailheads, level 2 chargers that can deliver 32 amps. You can charge the Jeep 4xe at its maximum charging rate, and Jeep owners get to use these charging stations for free. They'll have to download the Electrify America app, and there'll be a special part of the app that only Jeep 4xe owners get to activate. So when you come to these charging stations, you can plug in, charge up for free, and then hit the trails with a fully charged battery. You really want to do that if you're a serious off-roader, because the power you get by combining the electric motors, both of them, there's 2 electric motors in the Jeep 4xe, with the 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, really is unparalleled. I mean, the only Jeep that's more powerful than the Jeep 4xe is the V8 version. Every other version of the Jeeps don't have as much power, as much horsepower, as much torque as the Jeep 4xe. But only when the battery's fully charged do you really get to use all of that horsepower and torque. So if you're going off-road, you probably want to have the vehicle 100% charged when you hit the trails. And that's why Jeep's installing this Jeep charging network. Now, we're not 100% sure if they're going to expand it beyond the trailheads, but there was some talk about Jeep going further than just installing these charging stations at their trails and doing them in other public places. But I'm going to keep an eye out for that, and if I learn more about it, I'll certainly update this video, or at least put a note in the description below. Next up, we're going to take a look at scheduled charging for the Jeep 4xe. Scheduled charging is when you set a specific time frame when the vehicle will charge. So even if you plug it in at, say, 5 o'clock at night, but it's not scheduled to start charging till midnight, the vehicle will not start charging. What happens is you'll see in the charge port, instead of the green blinking light that shows that you're charging, it's going to blink blue. And that means it's connected to a charging station, but the vehicle isn't going to charge right now because it's waiting for the schedule to start. So let's take a look at how you would set that schedule. You click this e-hybrid button, and there's a couple of options here. I happen to be on scheduled charging already. Now, in order to change the schedules, you have to hit enable schedule. See, if enable schedule wasn't tagged, you see these are grayed out and you can't change the time. So if you want to set a schedule, you have to hit enable schedule first. Now you can go into weekdays, and you can see I have it set here to begin charging at 12 a.m. and I have it set to charge until full. So if I was using a level 1 charger, it wouldn't be fully charged in only 6 hours. It would continue to charge. And after 6 a.m., when my time of use plan is over, I'm going to be paying a little bit more for electricity, but I want the vehicle to be fully charged. If you want the vehicle to start and stop at your set time, uncheck charge until full. Now you'll see the 6 a.m. is highlighted, so the vehicle will only charge during midnight and 6 a.m. if you set the schedule like this. I like to prefer to allow it to charge until full. So now let's take a look back. You can do that for weekends. It's the same thing here. You can set the time. You could tell it to start at 2 a.m. and finish up at 12:15 or whatever the schedule you want. Or you can tell it to charge till full. It's going to begin charging at 2 a.m. regardless of when you plug it in, and it'll continue charging until it's full. In order to charge the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, the hood has to be closed. If you plug in the vehicle while the hood is up, it will not begin charging. Another thing we'd like to note, if you take a look inside the charge port, in the upper right hand corner, you'll see an LED light that can blink different colors. If you take a look inside the flap, Jeep has provided a diagram that explains what the different colors mean. If the light is blinking blue, that means it's plugged in and connected, but it's on a schedule to charge at a later time. If the light is blinking green, it's plugged in, connected, and the vehicle is actively charging. If it's a solid green light, that means the vehicle has completed its charging cycle and is finished. If it's blinking red, that means there's a problem, either with the power supply, the EVSE, or possibly with the vehicle. You'll notice on the dashboard there's a light strip with 5 LED lights. As the vehicle is charging, these lights will light up. Each one represents 20% state of charge. So if the first light is blinking, that means the vehicle is less than 20% charged. Once it's more than 20% charged, that light remains solid and the next light starts blinking. As you can see in this picture, we have 3 solid lights and 1 light is blinking. That means the vehicle is more than 60% charged, but it hasn't reached 80% charged just yet. Once it reaches 80% charged, that 4th light will remain solid and the 5th light will start blinking. Well, that's it for everything you need to know about charging the Jeep 4xe. Did we miss something? If so, please leave it in the comment section below. We're sure your fellow Jeep 4xe owners will appreciate it. And don't forget, click that like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming content here on State of Charge.